Okay, time for another non-music related video where I talk about stuff and things. Today, I'm talking about violence in media. Last Tuesday, the 2nd, I believe, the Supreme Court started holding hearings as to whether or not to ban the sale of mature-rated video games to minors in the state of California. The big thing is violence in video games. For some reason, profanity and sex are completely fine with people. Kind of, I guess, but violence is the big thing for this one. So I'm going to talk about violence. People like to pretend that violence didn't exist before the year 1960 or something. There was violence. Wars were fought, people died, it just kind of happened. But there was also violence in media. It's not like with the creation of video games and movies and television, suddenly violence was introduced into popular culture and mass media, because it's not true. It was in books as well. Some books are extraordinarily violent. I have here with me The Song of Roland, written in the year, about, let's say 900, because I'm far too lazy to look it up, and I know it's based on events that happened in 778, and it was written a while after that, to the point where nobody was alive to show what actually happened then. Anyway, I'd like to read you a short passage out of the Song of Roland, which is supposed to be a Christian poem about Christian values. Roland is supposed to represent Christ, and his 12 peers are supposed to represent the 12 apostles, in case you missed that allusion in reading the book, which you probably won't, so yeah, now you know. Anyway, chapter 106. Oliver, who is Roland's, second in command or something. Oliver rides through the thick of the fray. His lance shaft is broken. Only a stump remains. He goes to strike a pagan, Maloon. He breaks his shield, wrought with gold and flowers, and smites both his eyes out of his head. His brains come spilling out over his feet. He sends him toppling to his death with 700 of their men. Then he slew Turgis and Estegreus. The shaft breaks and shatters right down to his hands. Roland said to him, "Companion, what are you doing?" "I do not care for a stick in a battle such as this. Iron and steel should be put to use. Where is your sword named Hettelcray?" "Its hilt is gold and the pommel of crystal." "I could not draw it out," replies Oliver, "for my need to keep striking was so great." So not only does Oliver use a broken spear to kill a few people, smashing their brains out and causing their eyes to roll on the ground, but his need to keep killing is so great that he doesn't even have time to pull out his sword so that he can more effectively kill things, is essentially what this passage is about. So anyway, this is real. You can look it up in chapter 106 of the Song of Roland. I'm not making it up. The whole book is full of extreme violence. And there are more examples in books like the Iliad and the Odyssey, a bit in the Aeneid, not quite so much. Beowulf. People are always getting their eyes smashed out, rolling around on the ground, or being impaled through the nipple. That's one that's really popular in the Iliad. Beowulf is always tearing people's arms off and cutting their heads off and stuff. Roland likes to cut people in half longwise. Not this wise. That's far too easy. He likes to cut them in half longwise, and in fact does it several times, where he also cuts their horse in half longwise while they are sitting on top of it. What does this have to do with violence in video games? Well, nothing really, except I just wanted to point out to people who seem to think that violence in media is a relatively new addition that it isn't. Even 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, maybe not 3,000, but more than 2,000, because the Iliad was written more than 2,000 years ago. It was very popular. This was the hot thing at the time. This was the bestseller. Go to the courtyard and listen to a bard read the Song of Roland for 3 days type thing. People loved this stuff. and it continues throughout history. So, when you talk about violence in media, just recognize that it's always been around, it always will be around, and there's no real way to stop it. Also, if you want your children to read a really cool book with intense Christian values, Song of Roland is like $5 at Borders. Have them check it out. I'm sure your children will very much enjoy it. It's quite the thrill. So anyway, yeah, there's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't really say a whole lot, and I just kind of repeated the same thing over and over again. But I needed an excuse to make a new video, and this came to mind, so I thought I'd bring it up. Anyway, have a good day. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.